In my house, I pay. You follow my rules. That works for me too. When I was a kid, my parents used the my home, my rules. Period. I was told that when I have my own home and pay my own bills, I can make the rules. It drove me crazy, but can't argue with that logic. Years later, as an adult who was paying my own bills, my parents came to visit and wanted to stay with me. My mom smokes and expected to be able to toto it in my home. Nope. I told her that just like when I was younger, they have to follow my house rules, and those rules include no smoking. I had chronic bronchitis as a child until I moved out of the house. If looks could kill, I'd be long dead. When I had my kid, I told her that not only couldn't she smoke near my baby, but she had to change her clothes if she wanted to hold baby. She knew I was serious and gave up 40+ years of smoking. Just keep your head down. You got it, boss. This MC is currently happening. I've been working for a couple years for some Fortune 500 company in the US. I was hired on to do a job with creating training using a specific, and rather niche, digital adoption software that for some inexplicable reason took my two predecessors 40 hours a week or more to do. I had never even heard of it before getting hired, but it seemed like easy enough software. After a couple months, I could basically get everything handled for the week within about 3 hours, provided there weren't any emergencies. I started branching out into other technologies and responsibilities, because my boss was fine with whatever I wanted to focus on, provided I ensured my main priority of upkeep on the software was done. First, I found lots of ways to help out my co-workers and even invented a software program that really helped them automate some very tedious tasks. Fast forward a couple years, and I've really done well with this random niche software. Been awarded highest honors at the time from the software company. Had case studies done about my work. Actually single-handedly saved my company $20 million in production loss alone, according to the case studies. I say all that only to highlight how dumbfounded I was when my boss, who I like as a person, but has never once given me a metric in my entire time here, said at my annual review that I did not exceed expectations, and that I merely met expectations. Therefore I was only entitled to a 2% raise that year. What? Can't you just give me a tiny portion of that $20 million I saved the company instead of just giving that all to senior leadership's bonuses again? Also, even if I don't have metrics, I would think that if I ever did, saving $20 million, getting an award, and having a case study of my work all in 1 year just might put me even slightly above those expectations. Here's the second thing that pissed me off. Remember all those extra duties I took on? Well, my boss wanted to make those official. I said, great. Let's figure out a job title and salary that will incorporate those extra responsibilities. Initially, my boss was on board for that and asked me back in September to collect similar job postings for the role I was looking to move up to, Interaction UX Designer. I gave my boss what they asked for, and then awaited. I followed up on it every time we had a one-on-one meeting, and my boss told me they were getting to it soon. For 4 months. I finally came right out and asked my boss what the issue was because they weren't giving me any real direction on how to get to next steps for this role. My boss then informed me, it's tough times for the company, despite melodically editing a video from the CEO bragging about how revenue had never been higher literally. The week before, boss hadn't even looked at the job qualifications I sent them. Boss never even checked to make sure we could make this position happen in the first place, which in my mind should have been their very first thing toto before saying we could go for it. My newly created metric would include these extra duties, to which I promptly gave a great, big, vocal hell no to and made them back down and remove them. I asked my boss about next steps for this now unobtainable position if this is what the reality was. Then I was hit with this line, just keep your head down this year, and maybe next year we can revisit this conversation. Keep my head down. Well, okay then. Cue the MC. I did keep my head down. Into job boards, I put my head down into job interviews, when opportunities to volunteer my time at work to help with extradings, instead of offering up my help, you best believe I kept my head down. Remember how I worked on this niche software? Turns out, it's so niche and hard to find experienced people that finding another, better job wasn't there at all. Put in my 2 weeks notice last week. Boss was dumbfounded. They are now panicking and asking me to do crash course knowledge transfer to others, as if I didn't already request this very thing multiple times to no avail for months. I think I'll just keep my head down instead for the remainder of my time. Boss's orders. Write our reports using the language we speak at home? You got it, boss. For background, I teach English as a second language, TEFL. At the end of each semester, we're required to write class reports. Previously, we had to write our reports in English or Chinese so that they could be read easily by management, where in China, management decided that we shouldn't do this and instead write them, using the language you would Speak at home. Q malicious compliance. Several of my colleagues are now writing reports in French, Russian, German, and Spanish. English is my first language, so I still write in English. However, to meet my boss's request, I am now writing in British slang. Instead of writing, "Class A is very good," I now write, "Class A are the dogs." Bollocks. For bad classes, I no longer write, "Class B is struggling with writing." I would write, "Class B couldn't write their way out of a wet paper bag." My boss is now struggling but refuses to admit defeat. She's instead spending a lot of time using translation software to understand what we're writing. Boss didn't believe I had cysts on my SS, the update. Edit. Hello everyone. Some of you already have read this post. It was taken down due to me not having an ending. Just to clarify, it did have an ending, but when I edited the post to fix an error that was made, it deleted the ending before I had seen it removed. There was also a TLDR that was somehow deleted, IDK, thus the post was deleted, I figured. I would wait to post it again until I had an update worth sharing. The update, and the ending that was deleted, the ending was that my boss avoided me for a while after I showed him the pictures. However, since then he has actually not said a word about it, and I is treating me great. I had my surgery today. It went well. I am home, Andre covering. I was only nervous because I hate needles, IV needle, but it went smooth. My nurse was awesome. I want to thank everyone for the support that they have given me on my previous upload, and I also had some people reach out to me with them having the same problem. Thank you for that. It made me feel less self-conscious about it. The original story, some backstory, kinda graphic. Around June of 2022, I started getting this weird pain in my lower back upper ut area, kinda right where the seam of your cheeks are. I thought it was because I tend to slouch in my gaming chair and sit on my tailbone. I shouldn't. Bad posture, I know. Anyway, I thought it was just sore from that, and I fixed my posture a little bit, and took extra care in the shower in cleaning that area. But the pain just kept getting worse. Fast forward a few months and it never stopped, iterating from pain, to itchy, to pain, to nothing at some points. About 2 months ago from writing this, I decided to look in the mirror and see what it was. I couldn't see, so I had to ask my girlfriend to look. LMAO, it was embarrassing to spread my SS cheeks for her, don't get me wrong lol. When I did though, she noticed what looked like a little hole, maybe about the size of a pea, and when I say hole, yes, I mean like indented into my skin kinda hole. I won't get more graphic than that, but yes, it acts just like a normal zit, pops, puss, etc. I schedule a doctor's APPT and have them take a look. It's a pilonidal cyst, actually, not just one, but there are 5. One big one, and 4 other smaller ones. And with cysts, the only way to get rid of them, and surgically. So I scheduled my surgery. I go in about 2 weeks from the time this posts. Wish me luck. Throughout this time, I had to take a few days off work for doctor's apps and basically told my boss it's just for a routine APPT. I didn't want to scare them with a, "Hey, I might be off work for this amount of weeks." Just yet. When I got the news I needed surgery, that is when I told him. Now, I do a labor-intensive job in a factory, a lot of moving, lifting, etc., and I'm rather essential in my job. I know how to do everything there, and it will suck losing me for 2 weeks. For whatever reason, my boss doesn't believe me to have anything wrong with me and thinks I am just trying to get out of work. Because yeah, who doesn't love 2 weeks of unpaid vacation time? QMC. I get home that day and take my clothes off. And put my phone on the bathroom counter on a time. Turn around, spread my cheeks, and camera click sound. You can probably see where this is going. I upload the picture to my computer and print it off in black and white OFC and place it into a spare manila folder. Keep in mind, you can't see much below where I wanted him to see, because I am not trying to get fired for anything. I cropped around where I needed to. The next day, I bring in the folder which also has me letter of recommendation from my doctor for surgery, my surgery and at the very back, the last picture he will see, is, in all of its glory, my hairy, white LMAO. My boss avoided me for a while after I showed him pictures, however since then he has actually not said a word about it, and is treating me great. TLDR. I gave a photo of my ass to my boss. Thanks for reading. You said work doesn't start until 8:15 a.m. Work for a bank chain and we have opening procedures where 2 cars follow each other to do a drive around before someone walks inside and gives an all clear. My manager liked to start the drive around the building at 8:04 a.m. She told me to stop editing my timesheet since we don't start until 8:15 a.m. So the next few days she starts the drive around the building, stopping every few seconds waiting for him to follow her. She calls me. "Let's do the opening procedure, follow me." I say, "I was told not to clock in until work starts at 8:15 a.m. so I will be waiting until then." She hasn't asked me to do opening procedures in 2 weeks. Lol, I sit and wait in my car until 8:15 aim in the dot. Oh, and I'm taking all the OT every time. She makes me stay later than my scheduled time. Todake care of operations. Hashtag rolling in the dough.